When the Canon 5D Mark II came out in 2008, we were thrilled with the revolution that it brought to video shooting. When the Canon 5D Mark III came out a few years later in 2012, it was a great camera, but I felt like there wasn't really the video features that I wanted in a successor to the 5D Mark II. And since that time in 2012, there's a lot of us who, were kind of waiting, Canon, what's the next big thing? And for whatever reason, I feel at least, Canon was holding back, for the last probably about 6 years until we saw the EOS R, the mirrorless camera, and finally we saw something different. I personally was a little bit disappointed with the EOS R simply because some of the ergonomics, I felt there were some sensor issues. It didn't feel like it was a great focusing camera. I stated it and a lot of people attacked me for it, but I just didn't feel like we were seeing the technology and the innovations from Canon that we had seen in the past, like the 5D Mark II. Since the release of the EOS R, there have been some very interesting developments, and everything that I am seeing is sort of like chess pieces being moved into certain positions around a chessboard. In 2020 is going to be absolutely spectacular for Canon. If we were to go off the number of patents and rumors, there's at least 7 cameras in the works. If we were to take a look at the RF mount lenses, there's at least another 8 to 10 coming, which would put their total up to 20. Canon has also issued many firmware updates that have improved the performance of the EOS R dramatically. It appears they're aware of the focusing issue, of the banding issue that I talked about. And they also backtracked on not putting 24p into several of the cameras, including the EOS RP, which is a camera that I love, the 90D, and some others. If we take all these things in mind and kind of look at them as a whole, it basically means Canon is going to absolutely explode in 2020. It's going to be a great year for Canon. Let's briefly talk about some of the patents and known rumors for the camera bodies. There's so many RF lenses coming that it's kind of hard to keep track at this point, but to put 18 to 20 lenses on the market within 2 years of a release of a new mount is nothing short of astonishing. And those are really good lenses. I haven't used them all, but that 24 to 105 kit lens is the best 24 to 105 I have ever seen. So Canon has put a lot of research, time, there's been a lot of planning going on for years. You just don't make a lens overnight. That takes a lot of work. So let's talk about the cameras real quick that are coming. The 1DX Mark III announcement is imminent. Rumors say it's going to happen in February. That camera is used by most professional NFL photographers, and if you look at specialists and what they're shooting, it's a huge compliment. It's just the best camera there is, in my opinion, and I've used the other ones. I think the Nikon D5 was pretty good. The A9 is also pretty good, but when you look at the buffer depth on that 1DX Mark II, there's a reason it's #1. Second camera that we're hearing about is the Canon EOS RS. It's the high megapixel version of the EOS R. Rumors are stating it's about 75 to 80 megapixels. I believe that's the same sensor tech that we're seeing in the 90D, which has the best APS-C sensor I have ever seen. There are rumors that the EOS R version 2 is in the works and that people are actually out testing it, and supposedly that announcement is supposed to come at the end of 2020. There was a patent filed for a Rebel-like camera with a 32.5 megapixel sensor. The sensor obviously we saw in the 90D. Canon's very good about taking sensor tech and sharing it in other cameras. So we're probably going to see a T8i or something of that nature with a 32.5 megapixel sensor. There is definitely a lot of chatter about the replacement for the M50, which would be an M50 again with this new sensor tech, 32.5. What it's going to be called, I don't know, the M50 Mark II or the M60, but that sensor is so good, I don't see how Canon would not put it into the successor to the M50. There is chatter that the replacement for the 5D Mark IV is also coming, the 5D Mark V or some variation of it. I don't see, and it's about that time, I think it was 2016 is when the 5D Mark IV came out. 4 years is about the life cycle for the 5D series, and that camera is so important to wedding photographers. I'm not sure how they couldn't update it. There's basically what I'm saying, there's a huge demand for that 5D Mark. There's also a rumor that there's another M camera coming. I don't know what the designation would be. That would put it to 8. And there's a patent that Canon filed for a hybrid EVF OVF, which would put it at 9. That probably won't come out in 2020. It'll probably come out 2021 or later. Patents aren't always a good indicator. And there's even rumors of other cameras in the works. I believe most of the EOS RF mount camera bodies are legitimate, that those cameras are coming. There's at least 2 for sure, probably more like 3 or 4. And the reason is camera companies don't invest that kind of money in tech into a lens lineup, almost 18 or 20 lenses, without having a plan for a professional body. It wasn't the EOS R, it wasn't the RP. I see the RP as more of an entry-level full-frame camera, and I see the R as a tip of the big toe into the water. We haven't seen a professional camera. If Canon is putting all this work and energy into making all these great lenses, and we haven't seen the camera body for it, that means it's definitely coming. So in any event, Canon is about to have a spectacular 2020. I am thrilled to see what they have coming. I've always been a big fan of Canon. I know I've been critical when they deserve it, but hopefully we'll see the things that we really want to see from Canon in 2020. Be very excited. I'll put the links for many of these rumors in the description below so you guys can check them out and research them for yourselves if any of those cameras are interesting to you. In any event, if you're struggling to learn your camera, check out my training videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.